Most welcome to my YouTube laboratory. You're watching Daudi Alaba in the laboratory. Laboratory is where we practically share our experience about farming. So today we are going to share something completely different. I remember sharing very many videos in this channel. Another video that I shared, actually this is the farm that I constructed some few months ago. I went through a lot of challenges in this farm. I had been sharing with you in this channel also about why birds are not laying up to 24th week. So today is completely different. We don't only need those bad news, we also need good news sometimes. Today I'm going to be sharing with you one of the most excited thing that has happened in Daudi Alaba's laboratory. This farm started some few months ago. I have layers, 2,000 layers in this particular farm. They are on their 16th week. They started 16th week actual some few days ago, like 4 days ago, and then something amazing happened. I will tell you, last time I traveled to northern part of Uganda. I have my own farm in northern Uganda. So I went there to check on my farm. Actually, when I was coming back, I received a call. My boys told me they found an egg. Actually, they found 2 eggs at a go. I have 2 sections. One section is this one and one section is up there. It means we have birds in both sections. Those 2,000s, they are distributed in both sections. So they got 1 egg from this particular section and 1 also from upper section. I thought these guys are just kidding me. Until yesterday, Arisia, I found 3 more eggs. 3 more eggs. So I have 2 batches. There is 1 batch here and 1 batch up there. There were 2 eggs yesterday I saw with my own eyes and 1 from up. And also today, there are also eggs. I collected 4 of them. And now what happens is the eggs are not strong enough. All of them almost get broken. Where I'm only having 4 which are still intact, which are not breaking. Now I will explain to you the reason. These birds are on their 16th week. Most of the times, if you listen to a lot of farmers, they will tell you the birds are supposed to start to lay on their 18th week. And on the 18th week, that is when their feeding formula changes. So right now, we are at the developer stage still. It means we are expecting them to start to lay on their 18th week. So since we are in the developer stage, the feed formula that we are giving them is completely very different. What makes the egg cells to be stronger is actually the limestone that you add into the feed. But currently, the amount of limestone that we are adding into the feed is just very little. It means we're adding only 5 kilograms into 250 kilograms of feed. So, which actually, at the laying stage, is supposed to be 30 kilograms in 250 kilograms of the mixed feed. So that way, there is nothing to wonder why the eggs are breaking or they have weaker cells. So it means probably they are not going to be laying so strong eggs at this particular time because our formula still is still different. How can we get eggs on their 16th week? I'll share with you only 3 things that really made us to really get the egg on the 3rd week. I'll tell you a short story about this farm. This farm does not belong to me. It belongs to somebody who actually does not stay in this particular country, who is also not a nationality of this country. She just found me randomly. She asked if I can really help him to manage, to do his farm. I started this farm from foundation by building the farm, and then up to this time when the chicken are in this farm here. So that time it was a little bit of tough time. So it was tough time for him because I work with quite a number of people who are actually working in diaspora. Now, unfortunate bit of all those things is most of those people, they already have wounds in their hearts. They have wounds because they have always tried to do something back home. But what happens later is the people that they connect with, they will always knock them down completely. They have no option actually to really do anything back home. What happened is I knew very well that I'm not going to be a doctor treating those wounds in their hearts, but I really don't want to be a part of their pain. I don't really want to increase their pain that is already with them. So what I decided to do, I put all my dedications into everything that I say yes to. You know, I learned so much. I learned it in my early stages to say no. If I don't want to say, don't want to do anything, instead of saying maybe, I'll just say no. If I don't want to do it, I will say no. But if I want to do something, I will say yes. But by the time I decide to say yes, whether rain or sunshine, I'll always be in. That's why when I was going through challenges here, when constructing this chicken house, I was taken to police, I think 3 times, but I did not run away. As young as I am, I would just decide to say, this thing is not mine. I don't want to punish myself for this thing. I just ran away. No way. Because I've already said yes to it. And I told the owner of this farm, because he was frustrated of everything that had happened, that had been happening with him before. I told him, anyway, everything's okay. I understand where you are, but I'm not going to be actually, this farm in particular is not going to fall in my hand. I will share with you those 3 things that anybody can do and also become a successful farmer like me. I call mine successful because my chicken have started to lay actually almost before the time they are supposed to start to lay. I watch a lot of YouTube videos and I visit farms. And in all those things that I've been doing through, I have never had anybody saying that she can start to collect eggs on their 16th week. It had been not possible with very many farms. Even expertise, they have never doing it like that. So to me, it has been possible in this laboratory because everything that we do here is practical. We really do what is happening, and it means we don't say history. We don't really look for things from other sources. We do what is exactly happening. So we'll enter inside the chicken house and then we'll see why the birds are laying. You see, the process of birds laying depends on their growth. When the birds grow faster, that's also how they will start to lay. It means when they grow slower, their size and their also target weight will also be compromised. And when they grow that slower, they will not start to lay at that time that they're supposed to start to lay. So look at these birds. You can even compare their combs. You see these ones with very red combs, they are the ones that are laying. And I'm seeing most of them, their combs are not yet grown. Their combs are still very slowly growing. That is why the percentage of lay increases. It does not just start from 0 and then to jump up to very high percentages. It starts to increase from maybe 1%, it goes up to, for me, up to 97%. That is always what I plan to do. So considering this one, you may ask, why have these birds grown so big and so fast like this? I'll tell you one thing. The first thing that happens is the quality of the labor that you get into your farm determines so much how successful your farm will be. I've recently been sharing with you on how I can really get for you the best labor to manage your farm in your farm. So I manage about 4 farms currently with a total of about 6,000 birds. Most of them are layers. I'm yet to start another type of birds. And in all these 4 farms, I don't stay in any of them, including mine. My farm is very far away from where I stay, about 500 kilometers. Actually, it's the farthest farm that I have in management right now. So what happens is I don't stay in any of these farms and I take like 100% responsibility of all of them. It means I oversee everything. Any decision that happens in the farm, almost I involve myself more than 80% in the decision making. So that way I've always called myself a telephone farmer. So what happens is when you have a very good labor, they don't need your presence. Actually, whatever that you do that needs your physical presence is not really what is called business. It is what is called a self-employment. What we are creating here is a business. Like recently, I've said with you that I want to build home for elderly. So I do not want to really just go and construct a very beautiful house where elders, they just go and sleep and stay in that house. I want to build for them farms. And by the time, especially those who are in diaspora, by the time they come back, they just find a place to sit in. They wake up in the morning, they check on their animals, they check on their cattle, they check on their goats, their fish, their poultry, because those are some of the sectors that I involve myself in. So that way, the good labor always determines how successful your farm can really become. So that way, I got this. I have a total of 3 people who are working in this farm. And those 3 people who are working in this farm, they are all committed. So you can see, the birds have grown so perfectly. They never compromised on anything. The quality of the feed, the time of feeding them, and the biosecurity. I'll tell you this one honestly. Ever since I brought this chicken into this farm here, I've never treated them. I've never realized any kind of sickness in this farm. So it means they have always done their best. They are still doing their best to make sure that this farm really goes to success. So that is what is meant by a good worker. So a good worker, who is a good worker, is somebody who actually is very hungry for success. You see, it is always jealousy that sometimes kills us. You can be a worker, and then when you are working, you keep thinking, after all, this thing is not mine, I'll do anything that I want. And then people just do a lot of nonsense. And then at the end of the day, they lead to the failure of everything. So what I keep as the best thing in myself is actually my name. My name has always been my biggest asset. I cannot really try to do anything. That's why when I was starting this farm, I told somebody, actually the owner of the farm, that I'm not just going to be working. I have my own farm that I also concentrate in, but it does not stop me from actually doing anything from here. So that's why I really put all the commitments in both sides. And why I managed to also have my own farm is because I never wanted to be desperate. The worst thing a business person should do to his or her business is actually to get desperate people to work for him or her. That is where you can really know the character of an individual or a human being. So it is the worst. Don't really work with desperate people. And I wanted to have my own farm such that whenever something is in this farm here, whatever that I want to do here, I don't really do it with that greedy, maybe on how I can get commission, especially when they ask me to buy feed. I don't like it. When I go into the market, I try to gamble with the feed of the chicken. I try to gamble with the chicken feed in such a way that I can keep mixing wrong formula such that I can compromise on some amount of money. Because I have my own money and then I don't care. What I need is result, and I'm looking for who. Because I cannot just always go and preach on about me, that I'm a good person, my name is Daudi Alaba, I can do ABCD. No way, I can't preach like that. I want whatever that I do to preach for me, who I am, and that whatever that we are doing here actually is to the benefit of the community. And considering the owner of this farm is not Ugandan, is trying to do his best, though it is investment for himself. But what I know personally is he's feeding my own country, he's feeding people of Uganda. He's not taking these eggs, he's not taking this chicken to his own country, which is Congo, DRC. So I'm very sure whatever that he's doing here is to the benefit of Africa. And what we do is for Africa. We do it for Africa. So that way we really encourage other people to really start to work hard. And all these ones are driven by one reason. When I was growing, when I was a child, I used to be going through tough times, especially just merely food that we can eat. We used to suffer hunger like as if we were just prisoners. We are crippled, but we are just healthy. We cannot really find the solution. Up to now, we still go through a lot of hunger. No, though myself, I can now manage to afford for myself, but in the villages where I am coming from, people are still suffering. They are struggling with getting food on the table. But it is just because the population is growing and people in the production, they are reducing every day. People are running away. Students, they don't want to really do something like this. When we talk about farming, that is when young people, they become shy, they run away. And when we continue running away from those things, which actually is one of the basic necessity for humanity, that's when we shall also run away from ourselves. So I'm calling for people to really join the farming business, though it will be a business, but it is very, very important. If you go to hospitals, you'll find very many people suffering with very many sicknesses because their nutritional needs are not always fulfilled and they have malnutrition. And having malnutrition will cause very many sicknesses. And the second thing is actually how you feed the chicken. Feeding the birds is involving both the real feed and the water itself. So when you are feeding the birds, some people have always visited some farms that they call me for so that I can verify some few problems in their farms. I've always gone to farms where they tell me that their birds are not laying good enough. Their percentage has just been 65, and that is where it is stopped, and it is just reducing down. And I ask, why? What do you think could be the problem? They could only tell me that maybe it is the breed of the birds, that's why they are performing so poorly. The breed that they got is so poor. And also I get very many people asking me, where do you get your chicks from? I tell them wherever, actually I recommend them also to get them from my breed. But I tell them before that if you get these good breeds and you don't practice very good practices in your farm, you're not going to be as successful as I am. So it means feeding the birds is something that you should never compromise on. And in a lot of YouTube videos, I see people saying that it should be so economical, you should not really spend too much in these things. There are sections where you are not supposed to spend a lot of money in this thing. But there are some things that I will never allow you to really compromise. Number one thing is the feed. Don't really mix anything to be given to feed. To some extent, they will eat that feed, but they will survive. But when it comes to the production, they are not going to perform. That way, it determines how successful your farm can be. Third thing is actually the interest. This interest is something which is very, very important, especially for me. I work with the people who are not within the country. I work with the diaspora. And then what I always focus so much about is how successful Africa can be. You see, it is not all about me. And it is not about the owners of the farm, but I think about Africa. And say, if you cannot do great things, let us do small things in a great manner. And this is exactly what we are doing here. How I did my best is already being verified. When the birds start to lay on the 16th week, that is something which has never been existing, even in my own farm. Though I don't stay in my own farm, and Peter is the one managing my farm. Peter watches a lot of my videos. If you're watching me and then you have questions to answer, because you are the one staying in the farm, why have my birds never been laying at the 16th week? You answer that question, and then we shall see how we can adjust some things there later. So we're so excited, and if you want to learn anything about how to raise them efficiently like this, you can check on my contact on the description. This is a laboratory. We are trying to help people really move, especially in the business field. Because if you want to fail in business, come and try poultry farming. You are going to learn how to fail. It is one of the riskiest business, and anybody can become successful doing this. Ever since I started, I never failed because my commitment to it has been so high, and all my emphasis is all about success. I've never planned to fail, and in everything that I'll continue to do is just success. That is my plan, nothing else. So thank you so much for watching. If it's your first time watching me, my name is Daudi Alaba. We rise by lifting others. We rise by lifting others. Stay tuned. See you in the next video.